She worked on the farm a lot. That was what she did all her life. When she was single at home, she worked on the farm. She was, a shepherdess and that. She was in service for a little while, and then they needed her back. She was from up the Brimish above Ingram. Greenside Hill was where they lived then. They were at Low Blackup and then moved to Greenside Hill. And she married my dad from there. They used to meet at the dances on their bicycles. They used to talk a lot about how they used to cycle. And they would probably never be in bed, because by the time you cycled to somewhere to go to a dance, and then dances went on till 2 o'clock in the morning, and then you had to cycle home again. Well, being on the farm, especially if it was summertime, you were up in daylight, so they never got to bed. Straight to work, yes. My parents started taking me when I was 14. Loved going to the dances. Absolutely loved going to dances. Oh, yes. And Dad taught us to dance at home. We had an old-fashioned gramophone. And Dad taught us to dance as soon as we were, music's in our feet sort of thing. Because they were good dancers, my parents. And going to dances, I loved the dances all over the place. Well, Windy Half was a great dancing place. We used to go to Ingram. We would go to College Valley dances. We went over the border to Pennymuir, Whittingham, all the local ones, Netherton and Harbottle and Rothbury here, Jubilee Hall, and yes. In the winter time, there would be dances every Friday night. And then, as I got older, those dances started on the Saturday night. That was when more pop music, not really rock and roll, but more pop music came along, and they got bands more, and where there might be a singer and more guitars and things like that. There used to be dances at Whittingham and here in the Jubilee Hall, once a fortnight each one. So that was where you went on a Saturday night. There would be a crowd, and somebody always drove. Used to meet up and know where people were going. And that's how I met my husband. We're going to dances, yes. Well, actually, the families knew one another before when we were still just children, and just with going to the dances and things like that, just met him at all the different dances, and then started going out together, and then he would come and pick me up, and the two of us would go to dances and things. And then as soon as I was 17, I learned to drive the car, and I passed my test within 4 months of learning to drive. I passed the scooter 1 week and the car the next week. And I never drove the scooter again, because I bought a van, an Austin A30 van, and travelled in that.